Hello friends and welcome to Smart Coach. Today we are talking about Alauddin Khilji. Now most of us are acquainted with the name Alauddin Khilji, and precisely because of the new movie that was released about Alauddin Khilji and his invasion of Mewar, that is Chittor, during the reign of Raja Ratan Singh. However, Alauddin Khilji, you see, there are lots of other things about Alauddin Khilji which you have to know, purely from purely from an inquisitive nature, and it can also be from the exam perspective. Okay, so quench your inquisitiveness and also to prepare you for the exams, I am taking the topic Alauddin Khilji today. Alright, now let us proceed forward. And while talking about Alauddin Khilji, let us first know his regnal years, okay, and that is 1296 to 1316. On 1296 he becomes the ruler of Delhi, and in 1316 he died. Okay, he fell ill from the year 1315, and in 1316 he finally dies. All right, now having brushed this aside, we can move forward with his reign proper. And Alauddin Khilji, as we know, Alauddin Khilji came onto the throne of Delhi by killing his uncle. Okay, by killing his uncle. He was a nephew to Jalaluddin Khilji, and he killed Jalaluddin Khilji at Kara. Alright, Alauddin Khilji had raided Devagiri, that is the southern kingdom of the Yadavas. Alright, he had raided Devagiri, and his uncle, that is Jalaluddin Khilji, the emperor or the sultan at that point of time, he had asked for a share of the war booty. Alright, and this booty, Alauddin Khilji said that he was happy to share with Jalaluddin Khilji, and he called Jalaluddin Khilji down to Kara. And when Jalaluddin Khilji arrived at Kara, he was assassinated, and therefore Alauddin Khilji began his reign in the year 1296. Now, just like Balban, his predecessor, right, of the Ilbari dynasty, Alauddin Khilji also realized that in order to maintain power over the Sultanate, Alauddin Khilji will also have to maintain power over the nobility. Alright, and therefore the first measures that were passed by Alauddin Khilji were directed exclusively against the nobility to keep them in check. So there were certain ordinances passed, such as there cannot be any gathering, alright, social gathering at noble houses, alright, because if there are gatherings, there might be some kind of intrigues that could happen within these gatherings. Okay, and therefore he banned these gatherings. All right. Also, he prohibited the nobles to finalize any kind of matrimonial relations. All right, matrimonial relations. He prohibited the nobles from finalizing any kind of matrimonial relations without his consent, because see, through marriages alliances were forged, okay, between these nobles, and such an alliance might also lead to the eventual challenge to the ruler himself, and therefore Alauddin Khilji forbade his nobles to finalize marriage alliances before taking ratification from the Sultan himself. Then of course there were the Barids, Barids. These were the spies, all right. These were imperial spies, okay, who report to the Sultan, all right. And these Barids were deployed in order to infiltrate these noble factions, all right. So the Barids will go on and infiltrate the houses of the nobles and report upon the activities of the nobles, and also what they were trying to do if they were trying to make a plot against a ruler. So the Barids were deployed very strategically, okay, and the emperor or the Sultan gathered all kinds of information through the Barids, all right. And apart from this, one important ordinance that Alauddin Khilji passed was that public morality should be upheld, all right. Public morality, and this meant upholding public morality meant there was a ban or prohibition on alcohol, all right. So a prohibition on alcohol. Now the funny thing about prohibition is, when the word prohibition is used without any context, it already means a ban on alcohol. Okay, this is the new age terminology which came into being after the American prohibition of alcohol. So prohibition, you can just write prohibition, okay, but don't do it in your exams. I'm just writing it for illustrative point. All right, public morality, that means the ban on alcohol. It was also passed by Alauddin Khilji. Now, who looks after this ban, all right, or who enforces this ban? therefore Alauddin Khilji, he deployed a official regiment, all right, an official retinue by the name of Muhtasibs. Muhtasib. Now these muhtasibs will go around like moral police, and they will see to it that nobody publicly drinks alcohol or nobody gambles publicly, all right. Gambling was also banned, so public prohibition on alcohol and gambling, all right. So muhtasibs will look after all of these things. Now moving forward, we can also set something else aside, all right, before we move into the really important parts, all right. We can also say Alauddin Khilji also started a new department. Diwan, of course, is the name of departments. Diwan would mean a department in Sultanate period, okay. So Diwan-e Mustakhraj, Khraj, all right, comes from the word kharaj, that is revenue, all right. Kharaj means land revenue. So Diwan-e Mustakhraj. So what does Mustakhraj or Diwan-e Mustakhraj means? It is the department of arrears, all right. So if suppose I have defaulted upon my revenues, who collects it or through which department is the defaulted revenue collected? It is collected through the Diwan-e Mustakhraj. Also the Diwan-e Mustakhraj also maintains, you see, records of the revenue that is accrued from the nobles, all right. If a noble is defaulting, Diwan-e Mustakhraj is also responsible for collecting those arrears, all right. So the Diwan-e Mustakhraj is the department which is responsible for arrears, all right. All kinds of arrears that are accrued to the state, Diwan-e Mustakhraj keeps a tab upon that, all right. Now we have you see, dealt with all of these things. Now let us move quickly into the most important matters, and that is the army, all right. Alauddin Khilji's army reforms are some of the most well-known reforms of his time, because Alauddin Khilji was the first person or the first ruler, okay, in Sultanate period to maintain a standing army. Don't be surprised if a question comes, because there had been questions previously about who began a standard, who started maintaining a standing army, all right. So a standing army was first maintained by Alauddin Khilji. Previously Balban had instituted the Diwan-e-Aris, that was the department of the army, and the Aris-e-Mamalik, that is the head officer of this Diwan-e-Aris, all right. So standing army maintained by Alauddin Khilji. And for this you see, for this and within the army reforms, there is also a very significant contribution of Alauddin Khilji, that is the Dak system and Chehra system. Now today we have access to great military technology. We have planes, we have trucks, we have jeeps, we have ballistic missiles, and I am quite sure the government maintains a proper record of what they have, all right. And every army you see, regiment will have an officer who deals with all of the numerical aspects of how many you see how many logistical tools they have, all right. Now the height of technology during this period was the horse, okay, transportation technology. So you have to have a good idea of how many horses your army has and what are the quality of these horses, or how many horses one person is maintaining. All of this purpose is served by the Dak system, okay. You brand the horse according to the ownership, you brand it according to the quality of this horse, okay, and then the state has a good idea, okay, of the resources of the state, okay. So the Dak system is the branding of horses, all right. Now Chehra system, again every army department needs a register or a roster in which the functions of each member of the army is recorded, okay. So the Chehra system was such a system by which a descriptive role was taken of each you see, individual within the army, who is a lieutenant or who is a common soldier, okay, and what is the height of this person, how does this person look, does he have any marks to identify him, if he falls in battle. All kinds of reports were taken and were compiled within the imperial Chehra. So the Dak and Chehra were very essential to the functioning of this standing army which Alauddin Khilji was maintaining. Now if you are maintaining a standing army, does not mean that does mean that the person whom you are recruiting cannot cultivate his own lands, right. There is no use giving him you see, grants in land as salary, all right, because he is in the army 24/7. What does he cultivate, or how does he cultivate his lands, all right. So without giving them you see, previously they were being given land grants, all right, for their service, but now that was stopped and army was paid in cash, all right. Now this brings in a very significant, reform of Alauddin Khilji. The payment of the army through cash means that the state has to control prices of stuff. Okay, suppose I am being paid in cash, but my cash cannot buy the requisite amount of goods. Okay, what do? I might go and rebel, right? Therefore, Alauddin Khilji also instituted 4 state-controlled markets. Okay, state-controlled prices in state markets. All of this were deployed in Delhi itself. Okay, state control prices in state markets, so that the cash that is being paid to the army, they can get their provisions from these markets where the prices were fixed. Okay, there were market officers such as the Shahana, all right, the chief market officer who regulates all of the prices within the markets. Then there were the Munhiyas, and there were also Barids going around in these markets who would report upon the activities of the traders within this market. If they are selling their goods in the prices that were scheduled by the state. Okay, state will fix the price and the merchants or the sellers will have to sell it at that price only. Okay, and the document and the register through which the state fixed these market prices was known as the Dastur. D-A-S-T-U-R. So prices will be recorded in the Dastur, and each trader will be asked to sell the goods according to the prices recorded in the Dastur, and these officers will look at it, these officers will maintain it that the traders sell it according to the prices listed in the Dastur. There were 4 markets in Delhi. First market was the market for grains, the second market was the market for manufactured goods, third market was a market for miscellaneous goods, and the fourth market was a market for horses and slaves. Okay, there were 4 markets in totality in Delhi, and the prices for everything was fixed by the state according to the Dastur. Okay, now I already talked about the first market, which was the market of grains. All right, now although the Delhi Sultanate during certain periods of its existence had insisted upon cash payments of revenue, now because of this market, a state market which maintains an availability of grain for the army, all right, because of this fact that grain must be grain must be available 12 months of the year 24/7, because of this fact Alauddin Khilji started collecting revenues, okay, in kind from the Gangetic Doab, all right, Ganga Yamuna Doab. From the Doab region, he started collecting the revenue in kind, so that this market within Delhi, which is the state market of grain within Delhi, can be supplied properly. Very important fact, okay, keep it in mind. It will give you a context about the market reforms of Alauddin Khilji, all right. Although there might not be any question about this, but it will give you a context to remember all of the stuff that I am talking about, the market reforms of Alauddin Khilji. Okay, now with the market reforms of Alauddin Khilji, we have looked into all the major reforms of Alauddin Khilji apart from one, and that is the Zapti system. All right, now before the institution of the Zapti system, which is the survey modality, SURVEY, all right, which is the survey modality of collecting taxes. Okay, now before the Zapti system, taxes were collected ad hoc. After what? After the reaping of a harvest, the official will go and collect the taxes, right? But this was an ad hoc measure. The state never got an estimate of how much taxes would be coming in for a particular year. But with the Zapti system, survey started, all right, and by surveying, you would survey the quality of the land, you would estimate you would estimate a basic productivity for that particular piece of land, and therefore you would know that at the end of the year you will have this much or that much amount of revenue, all right. Although the estimates might be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, but at least you have an estimate to know at the end of the year what would be the income of the state. The Zapti system was started by Alauddin Khilji. In fact, there had been a question in NPSC, there had also been questions in APSC about the Zapti system. Very important detail you will have to you will have to keep yourself abreast with this detail. Okay, now the Zapti system going forward, it was also adopted by Sher Shah Suri, another great emperor of India, and then the greatest emperor of medieval India, Akbar, also instituted or also applied the Zapti system while formulating his Dehsala system, that is Akbar. Akbar used the Zapti system as a, you see, guiding principle of the Dehsala system. All right. Now, Dastur was also used by Akbar in his market reforms, okay, in his Dehsala system. So, all of these innovations by Alauddin Khilji are very fundamental to the workings of a state, and these systems help in the formation of the medieval polity per se, okay, medieval polity as it developed into its height during the Mughal period, such as standing army, market reforms, and survey modality for collection of taxes. Very important reign, therefore, Alauddin Khilji, 1296 to 1316. All right. Now, moving forward, let us also look into Alauddin Khilji's conquest. But before looking into Alauddin Khilji's conquest, we also have to know that during his reign, the Mongols had invaded 6 times. All right. 6 times, and all of these times Alauddin Khilji was able to protect his empire from the Mongols. All right. The Mongols had even reached as near the imperial capital as Kili and Amroha, and furthermore on one of their attacks they also reached Siri. All right. However, all of these attacks were driven back by Alauddin Khilji. Now, among the conquests of Alauddin Khilji, remarkable conquests are Gujarat, which were conquered by Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan, his important generals, okay, Nusrat Khan, Ulugh Khan. All right. Both of these people, they conquered Gujarat, and it is from Gujarat that they brought back Malik Kafur, all right, who would later on go on to become the Naib Malik. Okay, they made him, you see, they presented him as a slave to Alauddin Khilji. Okay, the Gujarat campaign, very important. Then, of course, there is the Ranthambore campaign, Ranthambore, and finally, we also know of the great campaign against Chittor, that is the state of Mewar. The state of Mewar, its capital has been Chittor, all right, since medieval times. All right. So, Chittor was also invaded during the reign of Raja Ratan Singh. You know it from the movie, right? And Raja Ratan Singh surrendered, and Chittor was also taken by Alauddin Khilji. However, the most distinctive of victories of Alauddin Khilji was against the southern kingdoms, or the Deccan, right? Deccan. Now, as far as the Deccan is concerned, Deccan was captured for Alauddin Khilji by Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur was, you see, the commander of Alauddin Khilji's Deccan campaign, and the Deccan campaign included Devagiri, Dwarasamudra, then Madurai, and Warangal. Now, it is a task, but it is an important task to remember the reigning, you see, dynasties of all of these Deccani, you see, Deccani states. Okay, so Devagiri was ruled by the, you see, Yadavas, and then Dwarasamudra was by the Hoysalas. Okay, Madurai was by the Pandyas, and Warangal was Kakatiya. Kakatiya, Pandya, Hoysalas, and the Yadavas. Okay, and all of them were made tributaries. Remember, they were not annexed, but they were made tributaries to the Delhi Sultanate. All right, they paid tributes, and who did this? It was accomplished by Malik Kafur. All right, Alauddin Khilji therefore gave him the title of Naib Malik, that is the vice regent, okay, or the person who is just next to the Sultan in administrative capacity. All right, so very important to know about the Deccan campaign. There has been a question about which ruler, you see, which is the first Sultanate ruler who started the Deccan campaign, or who had crossed the Vindhya hills. Okay, all of the answer to all of this is Alauddin Khilji. Done by whom? By his noble or by his slave, that is Malik Kafur. Okay, now moving forward, Alauddin Khilji falls ill in 1315. Okay, and in 1316 Alauddin Khilji dies. Okay, Malik Kafur takes charge of the imperial administration after the death of Alauddin Khilji. Okay, as vice regent, not as sultan but as vice regent, because Malik Kafur, he nominates the 6-year-old son, okay, Shihabuddin, that is the 6-year-old son of Alauddin Khilji, as the ruler, and he himself operate, okay, as the real ruler. However, Malik Kafur is promptly dispatched by Alauddin Khilji's own bodyguard, okay. The regiment of bodyguards that the Sultan maintains is known as the Jandar, and the Sare Jandar, that is the head of the imperial bodyguards, he killed Malik Kafur, and therefore comes an end to the episode of Alauddin Khilji and his important general, that is Malik Kafur. Now, we have discussed most of the important issues relating to Alauddin Khilji, and in between we have also intermittently discussed the important questions that have already come, and these are the important areas from which question might arise about the reign of Alauddin Khilji, okay. Now, about his his conquest, you have to look at the dates, so right, you keep in mind the dates are also important, but you see, it might not be very important, but certain conquests such as the conquest of Chittor, the date might be important, okay. And the Mongol invasions also, when does it start? It starts from it starts from 1297 itself, okay. So from 1297 the Mongol invasion starts. In 1306 the Mongols arrive as far out as Siri, okay, or as near as Siri, that is the capital of Alauddin Khilji. Now, as far as the architecture during Khilji period is concerned, important architectural piece is the Siri Fort, alright. It was the capital of Alauddin Khilji's reign. It is located in Delhi. It is located in South Delhi in particular, alright. So, Siri Fort. Now, with that, I hope that you see, Alauddin Khilji's reign has been dealt with quite elaboratively. I don't think there is anything left to elaborate upon. However, there are other things that you can go on and read and gain more information about the reign of Alauddin Khilji. I hope the video proves helpful to you, and hope that you will be studying hard. You will finally make it.